back from the break. We are still here with Dr. Noeline Kirabo, and we're having quite a good conversation about how the woman in business balances it out. What are the social aspects out there that actually most people don't talk about? Even the women don't talk about. Miss, they don't talk about them. The society doesn't even ask about them. However, they are very pertinent issues. They affect the woman fundamentally. The woman cannot concentrate when those particular aspects are not solved. And you're telling us about your own journey.
So at first I showed up, tried to macho up, tried to be like a man, and I realized it's exhausting because that's not who I am. And just by my makeup as a woman, I have seasons, I have moods, I have all these things that, happen. And that also came up when I started the organization. People expected me to do certain things a certain way. And I remember someone telling me, you know what, if you don't show up a certain way, you're not going to be able to close deals. And at that point, I'm thinking, okay, I'm sleep. In my first close to 2 years, I actually slept 4 hours. 4 hours of sleep, consistently, because I'm trying to push myself to catch up with, everybody. Because your guy friends are telling you, man, we're up at 2 a.m. and we did these things and you're catching. And they're thinking, okay, I need to be a little more serious.
Yes.
But then I realized my body doesn't run that way. And then interestingly, I have energy, but I'm an introvert. And people are telling me, you need to show up a certain way. And I was exhausted. I was burnt out. At some point, I wanted to quit just because of that. You know how you kind of feel like I'm not leveling up, I'm not measuring up, I'm not good enough, maybe I'm not cut up for this thing. At some point, I even thought, maybe let me just get someone to be the face of the organization. Let me step away. But then, thank God for mentors. I did work with a mentor who helped me realize that I need to be comfortable in my own skin.
Yeah.
I am fit for the job. I have everything it takes to do the job. And for me, that was a game changer. Just understanding that I can be who I am and lead my own way at my own pace. And then realizing that the rest is not with my neighbor, the rest is with myself. I set the pace, I set the standard. And for me, I think the other layer, the game changer is, being a mompreneur is just a different ballgame.
Totally.
And so people expect you to show up the same. Think about it. Like, you can't show up the same way. I can't be up at midnight after doing a day shift and a night shift, breastfeeding and taking care of a baby, and then you expect me to do certain things. But the marketplace does not
take into consideration. It doesn't take into consideration.
Yes, many things that go into it. However, I'd also like to give credit because there are people, there are funders, there are partners that have begun to appreciate that. Yeah. So there's a shift in the marketplace. Yeah. But even as this shift is happening, it's going to start with us women appreciating.
But we're also looking at one side. Let's look at the other side. The client wants his stuff, goods and services delivered on time. You're not going to get up as a woman and say, I was breastfeeding and I was tired, right? So is it, because we keep hearing the man, the guy, say, women are emotional. Women cannot manage some of these hectic, because they're going to come up with stories, quote unquote. They're going to come up with stories such as, I'm tired. Yes, I have my moods. My body's all over the place and all that, But bottom line, they want delivery. The society, the economy wants delivery on time. Yes? So is it a one-man show for the woman? Does she have support systems? What is your support system as a businesswoman?
So before we can get into the support system, I think one of the things that we need to agree on is, I'm not saying lower the bar for me as a woman. I'm saying even the ground. And what evening the ground means is that women need to be given opportunity. Because some women, first of all, we select ourselves. You see an opportunity and you think, oh, I don't qualify simply because I have 70%. Now, a guy has 40% and will still apply.
He will.
But part of it is really our own doing. But then even when we get into the system, I've been into places where I'm thinking, okay, she's a breastfeeding mother, why can't she come into the program? And they're thinking, oh, we have to pay for an extra person, and then we have to pay for I'm thinking that's what I call evening the ground. Make it accessible for the woman in whatever season of her life she is. And then when it comes to quality, I don't negotiate. Deliver quality. But for you as a woman, define your boundaries. Know what's enough for you. I have set my boundaries. No matter how much you're paying me, Doreen, I will not work on Sunday. I don't care. I have drawn that line for myself, because community won't draw it for me. I need to draw it for myself and say, this is as far as I'm going.
And Noeline, this is why I'm talking about the support, right? Because at the end of the day, whereas you have these boundaries and you won't work on Sunday, right? Mr. Mr. Akram, somewhere, quote unquote, sorry about that. Mr. Akram somewhere, yes, and the Haji somewhere is still up 6 o'clock, right? Your business is closed. His is not, yes? And the person who is coming basically to look for that extra service because he wants to be ready for Monday is going to come looking for the open business. So you're going to lose out. So, if I say, let's talk about you're going to lose out, okay? So, would it be personally about setting boundaries, about the rest and the self-care that you're supposed to have as a woman, or is it all about taking that self-care so that you don't drown, so that you're able to have your time for your family, but also have the support systems so that when Mr. Akram there has his shop open, his business open, he's still taking the orders online, you're also able to do so. What do you think about that?
Two perspectives. So one, first of all, from a business sense, it comes down to knowing your business and knowing your customer. I'm not here to serve everyone. Good thing I can speak from experience. I have served high brands. I have worked for reputable companies. And it's not because I am working 24/7, 365. No. I drew my line. I know who the customer is. So I'm looking for a customer that appreciates the value I offer. And that customer should be able to respect who I am as a person, but also respect my boundaries. Okay. So my customers don't put me up on Sundays. They know, they respect that. Just like I have customers who say, we don't meet on Fridays. And I respect that. I'm like, okay, then I'll work around the other days of the week. So the whole thing of having to work around the customer is a wrong pattern from a business perspective. Because you're supposed to build your business around your customer who is in sync with the rhythms that you're trying to build in your business. So that's why I said that's one perspective. When it comes to support systems, I totally agree. Support systems are important. Support systems will take on different dimensions. It could be family, it could be friends, it could just be an inner circle. Now, when it comes to business and leadership, typically for most leaders, we struggle to talk. We struggle to open up. I don't even know why, but it's like a default. At least in the circles where I've been, women leaders struggle to open. We talk about everything, by the way. We talk about our babies, we talk about school, we talk about everything, but not heart issues.
Not heart issues.
Not our struggles, not our insecurities sometimes. And
is it because they don't want to look weak?
Is it
because they have this facade, strength? Yes? And it's a social it's a social construction. It begins from down. Yes, the woman has to be strong. This is happening. Stay strong. Come into business. Stay strong. Yes, and then when you meet your other friends, you've already been constructed, right? Your mindset and everything. And even when you are with people that are encouraging you to let it all out so that they can give you the support, you're holding back because you don't even want to look weak to them. Does that often happen? I
think, like you said, it's a social construct, and I feel like it's around leadership. Going all the way from primary school, we're always looking for the strongest person to be the leader. So we assume that the strongest person is supposed to be the leader.
Is capable.
Yes, and when you start your business, that social construction catches up with you, because then you feel like I need to show up a certain way. If you're the CEO, you're the manager, you're the director, you can't afford to lose it. But also the truth is, even at least from some of my clients that I've dealt with, the fact that you're a woman and you're a CEO, there's all this pressure, especially if you're dealing a team of men. Yeah. Unspoken expectations. Yes. They're not written anywhere. No. But you can almost feel it.
You are given marks. You are given marks.
So there's internal pressure for you to show up, for you to level up, for you to be a certain way.
The way you conduct
even if it
yourself.
Means pushing against yourself. So that's why women are actually showing up that way. But the support system also, the truth is, it's hard to find a safe space. Because for years, I'll tell you, I had friends. I had friends who confided in me, who told me all their problems. I solved, as a solution center.
Yes.
But the truth is, whenever I was going through stuff, I didn't talk to anyone.
Why?
I just could not find the strength. Because, you're used to being strong for everyone. Then now you're wondering, who's going to be strong for me? Like, who is strong to take me and all this other baggage that, for everyone that I'm carrying. Yeah. And I went through a fellowship program, and that's when I learned to embrace vulnerability. And how that happened is, as in a room of over 20 plus leaders, talk about CEOs, MDs, managers, and the first time they gave us this exercise, we all refused to crack. We all looked at the facilitator like, hell no, we're not doing that. Like, no, I didn't come here to crack. I came here to put up a face value.
Yes.
But then over a journey of a year, we came to realize that this was our safe space. We learned to cry together, we learned to open up, we learned to speak. And now, learning to embrace our vulnerability, it was easy for me now to come back and tell my friends, you know what, I'm not going to be doing this anymore. I'm not that strong one. When I'm tired, I'm tired. If I need to talk, I need to talk. But that took an experience for me to crack that, because it's not the normal pattern.
These emotional needs, yes, these emotional needs, the cracking, the being real with yourself as a woman, yes? Are these tolerated within the business space?
I would say it's...
Realistically speaking.
Realistically speaking...
Or it is something that should happen on the side when you go back, get your girlfriends together, sit down, get your women together, sit down and talk about matters of the heart. Realistically speaking, are these particular needs of the woman, when you come down to the A game in business and delivering on time a service that is of good quality, that can meet the global standards, do these needs really matter?
There are two dimensions. In the corporate world, honestly, that's a hard one.
It's a hard one.
In the entrepreneurial space, that's very doable, because we set the patterns. And typically, I feel like you need to find your tribe.
Yeah.
You need to find your tribe. When you find people that resonate with who you are, with people that resonate with the same approach. Truthfully, I've been with men actually who are very vulnerable. Like I've seen men cry, I'm like, Mr. MD. Yes. And I realized, oh, it was a safe space. I'm like, okay.
Oh, was he cried because he was with you, safe space?
It was a safe space. Yes. And we intentionally created these safe spaces within some of the business circles where I am. It has to be intentional. It just doesn't happen.
But there are times, I believe there are times when these safe spaces should be, or these particular, quote unquote, these moments, there are times when you should crack, quote unquote, let it all out, right? And then there are just other times where there is no time to do that. How does that work?
I think when you bring out the concept of emotional intelligence, I need to know when, okay, definitely it's not appropriate for me to throw a tantrum. Never justifiable, no matter what the situation is. So that's emotional intelligence. However, for me to be able to recognize that right now I'm running low and I can't deliver, and to say, guys, excuse me, I'll be back, that is being authentic. Okay. And that's very acceptable, because that's a mature approach, and it's being true to yourself. Because there's no point in me pushing when everybody can say that I'm cracking. I'm actually losing face at that point.
We are handling cargo. The cargo is already, it needs to be cleared.
Thank God for this era of coaching. You know, coaching is picking up very well. And in the coaching space is where we are seeing a lot of executive coaching, where executives, and these things I'm telling you, these are things that come through when you work with executives. Exactly. They're like, I need a space to just let off. How do I let my people know I actually have weaknesses? How do I let people know that I am human?
This is the awesome thing about, and this is why I particularly said, you know what, Dr. Noeline, our guest today on Women in Business, has to be down here. We have to sit down and have these conversations. You know what? Because it's not just all about looking at the woman in business and saying, you know what, keep pushing harder. Yes? Meet the goal. Match the strength of a man. Match the output of a man. Yes? There should be mentorship. There should be mentorship. There should be acknowledgement. There are the particular audiences, particular targets. Yes? And we should be able to match and look at that, right? Mm-hmm. So I think the awesome thing about being able to sit down with you is that we do acknowledge that some of these aspects are actually there and something can be done about it. So this is the great part about the mentorship aspect in women in business. Okay? Noeline, there are so many opportunities, there are so many challenges right now. Not only in Uganda, but across East Africa, across globally. What are they? Some of the challenges, and then lastly, the opportunities. Okay. Mm-hmm.
The challenges are enormous. There are many. That's the truth. Many things that are coming at us. Maybe I won't focus so much on the challenges, but I guess what I can talk about is what can women do because the challenges are so many.
Like what we've been talking about,
yes.
really, finding the boundaries.
But women need to find safe spaces, whether it's an association or a group, find like-minded women. When I say like-minded women, don't find women where you are the queen. Find women that challenge you. Women that talk about business, you're like, okay, I thought 130 million was something. People are talking about 300 billion. Oh, wow, I need to go back to my drawing board. So we need to find those spaces where we expand our capacity.
What about if they're exclusive? Don't tell me you haven't. Don't tell me you haven't heard of that. Because you'll find there are 10. We also have that. Yes, we also have that issue. 10 women, they've already cocooned themselves, right? And they don't want to let me in with me who is just still in the bracket of 50 million.
So here's the thing, Doreen. You and I, we can't rule out the fact, like I've shared with my story, you have got to add value to yourself. One of the things I'm committed to is lifelong learning. I never stop learning. I never stop adding value to my life. Because I know that is what opens doors. That is what people are looking for. For me to be able to access certain networks, I need to level up. I need to add to my knowledge base. I need to add my capacity. So as much as papers is not the definition of your competence, dear woman, go back and study if you must.
Yes.
Get qualified. Get competent. That when you sit on the table of lords, you can argue a matter. And argue it wisely and not emotionally. That's no doubt about it. So we need to build our competence. Read, learn. There's so much information. Let's invest in ourselves as well. Because it's, like I said, from a dropout to, it's been a journey. But the point is, I am relentless. And for the woman starting out, I don't care how you start. Be relentless in becoming better. Like never stop. Keep learning, keep growing, keep sharpening. And then definitely as your value goes up, your network begins to widen, begins to shape up.
True. So keep getting better, basically. The better you get, the easier it is to get into these networks that are going to keep actually adding more and more value to you, okay? We've also had a couple of, it's not just about the confidence levels about it. I think it's just a fear of rejection, right? Let's talk about that, fear of rejection. Because the particular networks that women would want to, and I think this is one of the awesome thing about such platforms, yes? Such programs, Women in Business. We get to invite different organizations. We get different women's associations in business and let them know, you know what, it's so easy to get in here. These are the values that we have, and this is the value addition that is really available to you. For example, they can be coached, yes? They can be mentored, but they have to take that particular step out and actually reach for them because it won't find them seated, okay? It won't find them seated. So apart from the different structural challenges within our system, the traditional mindsets, the different inabilities to actually add value to ourselves as women, is there any other pertinent constraint that you have seen that is limiting, especially the Ugandan woman? Small scale, big wise, is there any particular, in your own perspective?
So interestingly, some of them are social constructs, and they're hard. They're hard. When I go train in the rural communities, there are things I won't even talk about because I know the structure there.
The husband has told us, be back by 4. By 2.
You're in a community, you're training here, you're training women, right? And over there, there's a group of men who are seated and watching you like, hey, better delay. We know what to do this evening, right? So the women are like, Madam, we have to go. So those things I do understand. So that is going to be hard. But then one of the things I would like to tell every woman is what my mother told me. You can become anything you aspire to be. If you set your heart at it, choose a dream, pursue it. Pursue it. It doesn't matter how hard, it doesn't matter how long. Keep working at it, keep polishing. Because the greatest challenges are not even external, they're internal. It's what I'm telling myself.
The wars that we fight, the biggest wars that are fought are internal.
Before they say you have failed, you already told yourself you failed. And that's where it all started. So changing our self-talk, beginning to reaffirm ourselves, reaffirm the girl in you, reaffirm the woman in you. And if you're so broken, find women that can handhold you. I know it's strange. The truth is, by the way, Doreen, unfortunately, I haven't had a female mentor. unfortunately. I've been mentored by men.
Wow.
But thank God we have a new generation of women coming up.
First, wait, let's talk about is it. You are a mentor, you have had hundreds pass through your fingers, right? Is it because you haven't found that particular niche, that particular mentor that suits the needs that you need to go through? Because there are so many women.
The truth is that there are many women, and that's what pushed me to go into mentoring, because I wanted to pay it forward. Yeah. I wanted to create a ripple effect of more women in the marketplace that are willing to mentor other women. So the women were there, but there was no bridge.
We need to talk about this.
There was no invitation. You know, some of them you try to reach them, and you realize it's, you know.
We talked about exclusion. We talked about exclusion, right? So it's a personal thing for you. We talked about exclusion.
I wouldn't want to generalize it. I don't want to generalize it and say all women, not all women.
No, we know we're not talking about generalizations, but we also know that these things are actually there. We do.
Yes, and for me, I would also say I'm kind of, I don't say an outlier, but I can be extreme. And now some of the women that had what I wanted me to conform to being them. You get, because I don't have to break you and mold you into me to be able to mentor you. I need to embrace you as you. You get. So for me, that was the challenge. There was always that disconnect of you are too much. I need you to first tone down, and then I'm going. And I'm thinking, but this is how I am wired. This is how I run. This is who I am. And it's interestingly, the men that came along my path embraced it. The high innovator, NSSF high innovators, they're looking for women. 70%, that ratio is struggling. Stanbic innovator, they're looking for women. Talk about Standard Chartered has a program as well. Yeah. They're looking for 70% women, all these programs. Private Sector Foundation. And then when it goes online.
You had that very clearly. You had that clearly. Yes.
70%, and we are still falling short. Women, they are looking for you, these opportunities that they have done the best to lower the bar for women, to make it as inclusive for you. Yeah. The point is we're not showing up. Even online, there are so many learning opportunities. You don't have to wait to go to a university. You can upgrade. Thanks to COVID, a lot of universities have opened up their online courses. Yes. So you can learn the skills and build your competence to be able to favorably compete in the marketplace.
You've had it all. All these different spaces, all these different incubators are all there waiting for women. Women in business is here to offer linkages, to get you to these places, give you the information, encourage you, bring mentors such as Dr. Noeline to come and tell us these different, but also talk about these different aspects, the social aspects, the economic aspects, what is happening out there, how is it impacting you, and how better can you be? Women in business. Thank you so much, Dr. Noeline. Definitely you're going to come back. You're going to come back. And thank you so much for tuning in. Please, let's meet the next time. Women in Business. Thank you.